Coach, in your time at the Naval Academy, what are your impressions that's made this Academy game with Air Force so unique?
I think all the academy games are unique and special. Um, the last time we beat Air Force was 19, my first year here, and I've gotten after us pretty good the last four, and so I think you go back to maybe 2012. Strauss could help me out with this one. The last time we won a game out there, and so this is a big one for us. It's going to be a huge challenge. I think they're a team that's improved every week, and they've got some players back this week, and we're going to get their very best. I know that.
What is unique about Coach Calhoun's form of the triple option?
I think they do a really good job of. There's some gap scheme stuff in there, some power run game. They do a really nice job of mixing things up formationally. A lot of the same plays, different presentation. Are really good at everything that they do. It's a nice mix of the triple and, like I said, some gap scheme stuff, and just a lot of formations and ways to try to get angles and numbers.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
For those of you who just jumped on, we're going 2 questions each first, and then we'll come back around and hopefully get 2 more. Pete Medhurst, Navy Radio Network.
Brian, just to piggyback on that question right there, against them, because they do a lot of window dressing, but it's the same plays. How do you keep your eyes telling you the truth if you're the defense against a team that does that type of presentation?
Yeah, that's the tricky part, Pete. And that's the thing you got to do a great job of in a game like this, because you saw it last year. We defended them pretty well for the majority of the game, and our eyes got a little dirty on one play, and that's all it takes in a game like this. And so, yeah, these games, the team that plays the hardest and makes the fewest mistakes. I say that every week, but these academy games, I mean, that's what it comes down to. You got to protect the football. Can't give up explosive plays, and so our eye discipline this week defensively has to be on point, and our guys know that, and it's something that we obviously will emphasize this week in practice. But you got to be locked in. You got to burn a hole in your key, and you got to do your job, and you can't freelance, against an offense like this.
Your kids are doing a great job at the point of attack, but what's even been more, I think, stand out to me is watching your team's downfield blocking. Regis Velez, fantastic on Blake's touchdown run. Purvis getting out onto the outside and finding somebody, kind of a seek and destroy type mission. And he makes a great block. Do you see those same things on film? Because certainly at full speed, it looks like you're getting tremendous downfield blocking from your players as well.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I've been most pleased with, Pete. I love what we're doing, but how we do it is the most important thing, and the effort that we're playing with on that side of the football, and just the unselfishness of, guys trying to make blocks, like you said, down the field and hanging on to blocks and playing physical football. It's fun to watch. It's good to see, and I didn't think. I thought our effort was really, really good on Saturday. I didn't think it was elite. Some things we got to do and get better at from an execution standpoint, some fundamentals offensively. But I've been really pleased with the effort piece on that side of the ball.
Thank you, sir.
Heather Dinich, ESPN.
Coach, I've realized that the Army-Navy game is a long way off, but the nation is excited that both of your programs are undefeated, and there's really no escaping that spotlight, given where you are. I wanted to ask you specifically about the way the college football playoff views Army-Navy, because they don't count that game. Whatever happens in terms of the college football playoff race through selection day, that's it. So it would be your conference race. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you think about that in terms of them not counting the Army-Navy game in their deliberations. But obviously, either one of you can get in as the American champ.
To be honest with you, Heather, I don't give it a whole lot of thought right now. I'm worried about this game and don't look really that far ahead. I think if we take care of business, we'll have the opportunity that we want in regards to that.
What does it mean to you, though, if anything at all, that both of those programs have already captured the nation's attention and we're just rolling into October?
Well, I think it's great recognition for the academies and our men and women in the military, and I think it speaks a lot to the times a little bit, and the academy teams are unique. They're developmental programs. They're not dealing with the portal with NIL. And I think it speaks to the character of the teams and how close the players are. And there's a lot to be said for playing with guys that you love and you trust and have been together and have relationships with, and teams that play for each other instead of maybe playing for something else.
Bill Wagner, Annapolis Capital.
So what are you seeing out of Air Force so far this season? I know that your alma mater got after them. You're probably happy to see that. Then they lost the conference game here to Wyoming pretty convincingly. I know they're very inexperienced. I think they have the fewest returning starters in the nation, 8 total.
Yeah, they lost a lot of really good players. I think you've seen progress week to week. Wags, I think they've gotten better each week. Like I said earlier, they've got some guys back that have been hurt. So, I think offensively they've struggled a little bit, but you see the progress week to week. I think defensively they're a really solid football team. They always have been, they're going to continue to get better. And this is an important game for them, just like it is for us. And I know we're going to get their very best, and I know they're going to continue to get better.
Well, you mentioned the offensive struggles, only averaging just over 12 points per game. That's not typical for Air Force, which is pretty high powered. But I mean, it's all the same stuff, right? It's just they're apparently not executing to their usual standards.
Yeah, I think it's probably a mix of things. They're a good football team. We're going to get their very best, and I know they're going to be better this week than they were the previous week, and that's what happens. We've done that here for a long time. We played with a lot of young players, and it takes time to develop those guys. But what you do see with a young team is they get incrementally better each and every week, and they've got outstanding coaches there, and they've got players that have a lot of pride, and I know they'll continue to make progress. And they're certainly a good enough football team to beat us. I know that.
Yeah, Navy has not beaten Air Force in Colorado. Well, I'm sorry, that was my 2 questions. I apologize.
Okay, Wags. Brigham in Colorado Springs Gazette.
Yeah, Coach, these games, by and large, the academy games have been low scoring for the past, decade roughly. Your numbers this year would suggest it might be otherwise. Kind of how do you see, your offense playing in a service academy game like this?
Yeah, well, I think the familiarity with the style of offense and having to defend that in practice lends to the low scoring games, Brent. I think, and I think the equality and talent, just parity and just the familiarity with the systems lends itself to a low scoring game. I wouldn't expect this one to be any different.
Okay. And I don't believe Blake Horvath has played against Air Force yet. For those of us who haven't really seen him, how can you kind of describe his skill set and kind of his journey at the Naval Academy?
Yeah, I think I couldn't be more impressed with the way that he's playing. I wouldn't say it's a surprise, but I mean, he's playing at an extremely high level. Just the improvement over the course of a year has been tremendous. His ability to throw the football. He played in just a handful of games last year before he got hurt, Brent. And his freshman year, he was his own scout team and didn't play at all. And so, and he's getting better and better every week. And he's an awesome kid. He's super smart. He's very humble. He's having fun right now. He's comfortable with what we're doing. Just seeing him throw the football, seeing him be an effective runner, seeing him make great decisions. He's making the guys around him better, and he's got a really good supporting cast as well. So it's fun to watch, and I'm just really pleased with the way that he's played and led our football team.
Thanks.
Let's go to Joe Miller, Navy Radio Network.
Hey, Coach, on Saturday, it seemed you rotated on defense a little bit more than maybe we have in the past. Was that sort of a product of a lot of guys playing over 90 snaps the week before? And how did you think some of those guys that got a little bit more playing time fared on Saturday?
Yeah, it did have something to do with the amount of snaps we played at Memphis, Joe. Didn't expect the game to kind of go like that as it did in the fourth quarter, but you got to be prepared for that. We've got to keep guys fresh. And, we say it all the time, but sometimes you get into the course of a game and it's a close game and you're making adjustments. There's some hesitation in doing that, but you've got to do it. And we've got some good players that are playing backup roles right now that we need to get in there and get that experience. And I thought Coach Volker and D-Step did a nice job of doing that, last week. Because those guys are going to have to play for us on down the stretch, and we need to be able to rotate guys, keep guys fresh. And we've played more snaps, defensively this year than we typically have, and so we've got to be able to do that.
From the perspective of, it seemed like you guys were actually able to get a lot of pressure with 3- and 4-man rushes on Saturday. Landon and Justin both got in there. As a play caller, and I know PJ is doing that, but how does that change sort of what you can do defensively when you can get some pressure with just 4 guys?
Yeah, it's great when you can do that. It allows you to do some things with your coverage. It's obviously a little less risky, Joe, and sometimes there's simulated pressures where it feels like a blitz, but it is maybe just rushing 4. And so I thought we did a good job, particularly in the first half. Second half, you get a little bit of a lead. It's a little bit harder to call the game. You tend to get a little bit more conservative and those kind of things, but we need to be a disruptive football team. We need to put pressure on the quarterback, and every week we're going to try to find ways to do that with minimal risk, Joe, if that makes sense. So trying to find the best way to do that, something we're always chasing.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, we'll go back around, keep it to 2. Scott Wyckoff, WBAL Radio and the Navy Radio Network.
Coach, how about the altitude and the impact in what you've experienced when you've been out there coaching? What is that impact, and what can you do to deal with it?
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot you can do. We're going to go out a day early. We did that 2 years ago, and I thought maybe it helped us a little bit. I think the biggest difference is you kind of notice in the first couple of drives, at the beginning of the game, and then you guys kind of get settled in a little bit. But I didn't feel like it impacted us greatly. The last time we were out there, we certainly have to be ready to roll guys and keep guys fresh. It's supposed to be hot there. They're predicting. We know we kick off at 10 in the morning, but I think it's supposed to get up to almost 90 degrees on Saturday. So we're going to be smart with our guys and be able to play and roll guys and keep guys fresh.
4 games in, how do you like the win that your players have, the way that they're taken into this 5th week, their bodies and how they've worked out?
Well, I think our kids are in phenomenal shape. I think we got a little gassed in the Memphis game toward the end. Obviously, I think any team would, and I don't care what kind of shape you're in, but our strength and conditioning staff did a phenomenal job making sure our guys are ready when we reported to camp to practice the way we practice and to run the way we need to be able to run. And I think we're in excellent shape. And I think it shows with the effort that we play with. We got to be smarter about how many reps guys play. Obviously, we have to be able to manage those guys during the course of the week and make sure their legs are fresh and ready. But I think we're a team that's in really good shape.
Thanks,
I think
Coach.
that's a credit to our Coach Chris and our strength and conditioning staff.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Pete Meadors, Navy Radio Network.
Brian, how much do you depend on your seniors this week to keep focus on the task at hand and keep doing this thing one step at a time?
Yeah, I think we always lean on them. I don't think this is a week where you have to necessarily get that just from the seniors. I think everybody understands the importance of this game and the magnitude of it and just what it means to our program. Weeks like this, it's almost like you got to dial them back a little bit, make sure they're focused and not overzealous. But no, our kids are going to be ready to play. There's no doubt about that. And it's not going to take our staff getting ramped up to do that.
I know Nathan Kent has worked extremely hard on that jugs gun. He has put countless, extra time in working on that, seeing that work pay off for him and being able to add that next layer of explosive play to the offense, to be able to see that Saturday. What did that mean just to add another layer to this offense?
Yeah, love seeing it. And that's what we expect from Nathan. And it's awesome to see him have a big play, have some success, and I think it's good for his confidence, good for the confidence of the offense. But we haven't been extremely productive at that X receiver position. Not say those guys aren't playing well; they're not blocking their tails off out there. But as far as where the ball has gone, it hasn't gone to the X's a bunch, and we need for those guys to make plays for us. And I've said a lot. And obviously, he's got the ability to get behind DBs and knock the top off the coverage. And when he's able to do that, we got to be able to take advantage of it. And to have him out there as a deep threat is really important to loosen things up a little bit for us.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Pete.
Heather Dinnick, ESPN.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to follow up on Brent's question about Horvath, because I'm looking at total QBR and he leads the nation. I mean, dude's ahead of Jalen Milroe and all of the who's quarterbacks in the country. I know you said it doesn't surprise you what he's done, but does that surprise you?
No, that's great. I mean, he's played lights out. He really has. I mean, I can't say enough good things about the way he's played, and just and the kind of young man that he is. And just some kids would have a start like that, and you can see it get to their head a little bit. And that's not Blake Horvath by any stretch. Most humble kids on our team, works his tail off, practices his tail off during the week, prepares the right way, and he's seeing the fruits of all that labor, and he's got to pay the price, to get there, and deserves the success that he's having. So, and listen, he's there's things that he can do better, and I think he knows that, and he's going to continue to get better. But to play the way that he has, it's the confidence at that position is so important. And the guys around you believing in you is so important. And he's just that's great. It's awesome. Love seeing it, and I think he's going to continue to get better and better.
Well, that was going to be my second question: is what can he do to get better? Are there specific things that you see that you'd like to see improvement on as you go down the stretch?
Yeah, there's always little things that we can do better, fundamentally, and as efficient as he has been throwing the football, there's a few throws I know he'd like to get back. Thought he made some really good throws Saturday, with while he's getting hit. He's able to step in the throw, knowing he's going to get hit, and put it on the money. I love seeing that. That was the most impressive thing I thought on Saturday. Is just some throws he made with pressure in his face. And but yeah, there's a lot of little things, and this is a relatively new offense that we're in, and so there's certain nuances that can get better, and but I've been really pleased.
Thanks.
Bill Wagner, Naps Capital, Baltimore Sun Media Group.
Coach, what I started to ask you earlier, Navy has not beaten Air Force in Colorado Springs since 2012. That was Keenan Reynolds' freshman season. It's a long time ago. What do you think has been the issue? I know you haven't been part of all the other subsequent games, but you've been part of some of them. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think it's a difficult place to play. It's a hostile environment. It's a long trip, maybe. Probably a lot of factors. They've been really, really good too. Wags, so that's part of it. But I don't think a lot about the past. If I'm being really truthful, what happened the last however many years has no effect on what's going to happen this Saturday.
You were talking earlier about how Air Force has always used a lot of window dressing motions, formations. That's what Navy's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that your defense has been seeing that since the spring will help them. There's a lot of similarities between what Drew does with Air Force.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think it helps quite a bit. I think everything that you see Air Force doing, whether it's gap scheme or zone scheme or triple, a lot of the play actions or some similarities there. It certainly helps, going against it and seeing it in practice every day and understanding, things you have to be really good at to defend an offense like that. Definitely helps.
We still limited to 2 questions, Strauss?
Yep. Brent Bigeman, Colorado Springs Gazette.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, with Air Force's roster turnover and all the new guys, you touched on it earlier a little bit about being a developmental program and not having a portal. Can you kind of sympathize from experience with what they're going through and how that is unique at a service academy when you are facing that much turnover?
Yeah, I think without getting into it too much, I think, coming out of COVID, turnbacks, things like that, things that we didn't do here. Maybe some of the older guys in that program played a lot more snaps. Some of the younger guys maybe didn't get developed, quite the same as they would have otherwise. I do not have, with a 15, 50-year seniors, something like that. And that's not me being disrespectful in any sense, but those are the facts. We didn't do that. So we took some lumps because we didn't. And those things are starting to pay off for us a little bit now, because a lot of guys that probably weren't ready to played and got valuable experience and playing time because of that. And so the seniors on our team right now played a lot of snaps. We played a lot of snaps together, and probably earlier than they probably should have, but they did. And hopefully we're kind of reaping some of the rewards of that now.
Okay, that's all I had. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Joe Miller.
Coach for Air Force, Kate Harris, plays in a lot of different spots as far as what they do offensively, line them up in different places. And he's had some big plays for them this season so far. Is he one of the guys that you kind of focus in on what they do offensively?
Yeah, he's certainly really good on the slot position, and really good skill player, good speed, runs the ball really well, has good hands. So he's definitely somebody that we've got to be aware of, where he's lined up.
That's it for me.
All right, we'll make it around one more time. We'll go one question each here. I think one interesting note for this game is both Navy and Air Force are tied for the nation's lead in forced fumbles per game. Both teams are forcing 2 fumbles per game. Scott Wyckoff.
After the game in Birmingham, Coach, you talked about 6-week exams and how this team handled it. What does it say about this team, the way they went about their work, dealing with that and going into that game?
I think it says a lot. I think it says a lot about the character of our football team. I think it says a lot about our mindset. We talk a lot about going 1-0 and being able to compartmentalize, which can be a challenge at times here, especially during a week where you have those 6 weeks exams and you're going on the road for the first time. You're coming off of a big win. You've got Air Force ahead of you, on the horizon. So I was really pleased with the way that we prepared last week and the way that our guys went about their business. And I think it speaks a lot to the maturity of our football team and just the focus and the mindset.
Great. Have a good week.
Thanks, Scott. You too.
Pete Medhurst.
I'm good, Strauss.
Heather Dinich.
I know Wags has one more.
Wags. I'll let you ask your question plus Pete and Heather's.
Well, I was going to ask you about the Air Force quarterback. He's a first-time starter. I don't know a lot about him. I haven't had a chance to really review their film, but what are you seeing out of the QB?
Yeah, I see him getting better every week, getting more comfortable with the things that they're doing. And, you see him throwing the ball a little bit better. You see him doing some things in the run game, making reads a little bit better, just like the rest of the offense. I think he's a guy that's improved week to week and will continue to do so.
It was good to see Kirkwood nail 2 field goals. He hadn't attempted one this year, which was a good thing. But when called upon, he was looking good straight down the middle on both. Were you pleased with that?
I was. Yeah, we've been. I think we're 14 for 14 on touchdowns in the red zone, which is unreal. So we haven't had to do that a lot. But yeah, to see him nail a 45-yarder, I think that one was in the wind, if I remember correctly, Wags. And then the second one from 46 was not a great snap either. I was able to get the ball down and get it kicked, and it was good to see because we're going to need him to make some of those clutch field goals coming down the pipe.
Well, I was just going to say this game, special teams has loomed large in this game over the years, and Air Force has been, that's one of their strengths. They always have been good on special teams. They take pride in blocking kicks.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about you feel good. Your special teams have been pretty solid this season, minus game 1, I would say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. We just had this meeting and went through the film from Saturday, and there's some things we've got to do better, and maybe a few changes here and there personnel-wise. But yeah, they've always been good on teams. They've always had tremendous kickers, and obviously special teams in a game like this is extremely important. Field position, the hidden yardage is really, really important in a game like this. But yeah, they're really good in special teams, and they're aggressive. I'm sure they're gonna scheme some things up this weekend and try to steal possession maybe or two. We got to be ready for a lot of things.
Last for me, you talked earlier about using a little more defensive personnel against UAB. Did you feel that those guys that got some action held up their end of the bargain and no drop off?
Yeah, I think anytime you do that, guys that come in that haven't played a lot of snaps they're gonna make some mistakes. You grow from playing game reps, and there's practice reps are one thing. You get in the game, it's a little bit different, and then so to get that kind of behind some of those guys, and to build off of that, and to create some confidence moving forward is big. And so in a game like that, when you're able to play a lot of guys and you come out with a win, that's always a really positive thing. But I was pleased the way that we rotated guys. I thought we kept guys fresh for the most part, and that's something that we're going to have to continue to do as the season moves on.
I actually had one more. The announcing team on Saturday seemed obsessed with your beard. Did you hear about that?
Was it mine or was it John Williams' beard? I don't know.
No,
They did screw up early and put it on John, but it was definitely your beard.
they wanted to sign.
I think maybe they were trying to make up for talking about the wrong coach. Maybe I don't know.
That got fixed when Kristen texted me and I picked up the phone and today you got the wrong coach.
Yes,
Brent.
man.
Yeah, Brent.
Yeah, I guess one more, just, for you personally, seeking your first win in a service academy game as a head coach, like what would that mean at a personal level?
What's the most important goal we have, Brent? Is to win that CIC, and it hadn't been here in a long time, and it's a goal of ours to bring that trophy back here and keep it here. And this is obviously the first leg in that process. And so these games are the most important games to us. So it would mean a lot